Yeah, we'll start with the tools. You have to have a way of interacting with your customers. So obviously email, surveying, testing tools, Validately, we mentioned earlier, Google Optimize or Optimizely is a tool for A/B testing things. With emailing customers, you have to figure out what your tone of voice is. So spend a lot of time doing that, and then be open to emailing them, be open to asking questions where they might not agree with you, but in being transparent, hopefully you build that relationship where they'll continue to respond. As you grow, you'll want to add things like landing page testing tools, so things like Bounce. Processes. Sprints work really well for dev teams. They also work well for marketing teams. So you can set up a marketing team to have objectives for a 2-week period and to go towards those objectives. You can carry out a lot of the rituals that dev teams do in sprints within a marketing team. It might not work so well in an investment team or in an ops team, but it definitely works for marketing and dev teams. Additionally, I think as a company, you should have at least monthly, more open, wider conversations about how things are going. They don't have to be long conversations, but just keeping people up to speed with how the product is developing, what the responses are. Because while you might think, oh, I'm the product manager and we have a development team and those are the only people that should have access to all that data about the product and the responses, you'd be surprised to find that when you share that with a wider team, actually you get some really good ideas from people that aren't in it every day, trying to do it every day and may become biased to a certain way of it. Like having that external person, even though they're still in your team, knowing what's going on and being able to question you is a great source of insight, and making sure that you're kind of not locked in a little bubble. It helps morale when people know what's going on and what the customers are saying. Even if it's not all positive, it's better that people know, like, hey, actually, we got it a little bit wrong, but this is what we're doing to correct it. You never want to drop surprises on your wider team. Product surprises included. Oh, by the way, we're going to do this now. What? So yeah, make sure everybody's included in those conversations. Jeff Bezos is great for taking phone calls, up until late stage with customers. Founder of a multi-billion-dollar company, still answering customer service calls. The guy, I'm forgetting his name now, but founded Deliveroo, still jumps on the scooter every now and again and delivers things to customers just to make sure that the reputation is high and to get a sense of how his employees do their job. Things like that are great. So the best thing that someone who's not a product-oriented founder can do is help the team understand the vision, but then let them kind of figure out how to get there. Oftentimes product people don't have a direct plan of, I'm going to do this week and this week, for 12 months, 24 months, 3 months, however long it is. What they're focused on is getting to that next step and then getting to that next step and listening to the customers and letting the customers help decide what that next step is. And I think for a lot of CEOs, sometimes they have this vision where, we're going to just go like this to get there. We talked about it a little bit earlier. And they have to be comfortable knowing that as long as you've given a clear picture of where you want to be and you have the right people, they'll get you there. It just may not be exactly how you had mapped out in your mind because they're listening to the customers and guiding you with the customer to where you want to go. I think the best way of staying on top of your craft, if you will, is to find those companies that are continually delivering the best service and product out there and just paying attention to what they do and how they do it. For example, Airbnb's website is always on the cutting edge of technology, of design, user experience, etc. Obviously, I use Airbnb, but even if I didn't, I would probably go to it to check out what they're doing, how their flows work, what are they doing on their homepage to optimize conversion and things like that. So find a few companies that are really like the experts in what they do and check out what they do and how they do it. Book-wise, the product book, rightly named by Product School, is amazing. They also have a great blog with tons of insights on new changes to how homepages are going, whether or not they're infinite scroll, whether or not they're single page applications. So Product School is a great resource. I read a book a long time ago which has stuck with me and just the idea for it. It's called Don't Make Me Think by Steve Krug. Don't Make Me Think is exactly that. It's like if your users have to think about what you're doing, you're probably doing it wrong. Good product and good UX is about people thinking they know what they're doing when they go to it. If they have to stop and go, wait, am I supposed to do this or that? You're putting friction into the system, and they're more than likely going to find someone who does it better. The Sprint book by Jake Knapp, and I forget the other guy's name, I should know that. Awesome book, talks about how Google conducts sprints. And you can borrow a lot from that on how you should do it, how you should wireframe, how you should use post-it notes to come up with the pain points, testing things with users. Seth Godin has a great blog. Yes, it's more focused on marketing, but a lot of what he has to say is about customers and listening to customers and how you listen to them and talk and interact with them. And then Nir Eyal has a great blog and also a book that's called Hooked, which talks about creating habitual users of products and how you get them into the hooked methodology where they sign up, they do something, they invite more people, they use it again and again and again. So I'd start with those. Product book, for anybody who's newer to product or maybe took some time off of it, is fantastic. It covers all the different facets of being a product manager. Some of it is quite basic, but it does a great job of explaining all the different aspects that a product manager has to go through. So a product is not just a user interface. Product is the customer service, how people can get refunds, how people can contact you. It's all of those different touch points. That's a product. It's not like, oh, it's just a landing page and we try and get people to click this button and they buy from us. So you have to think about product as everything that's related to you and your customer service, and a lot of that requires operations. So there's a lot of operations that's tied into it. How do we deliver overnight refunds or next day delivery for this or that? How do we excite the customer more than just giving them what they ask for? So product is a bit deeper than just a flashy website that looks nice. And I think Product School's book does go through that, and it talks about all those aspects at a good level.